We always start cackling. That's how we do. Welcome back to Feral Ladies. This time on Kacey Ezell's My Writer Life, Her Writer Life, Writer Life.
My writer life.
Welcome, it's hers. I'm probably
Mine.
pointing the right way, but I flipped my screen, so
You're not.
Not on my screen, you're not.
so it looks really wrong to me. I can't show you because it has curse words on it, and we are 26 seconds in. But welcome back to Feral Ladies. We have a special guest, so we're going to go around. I'm going to let my fellow feral ladies introduce themselves, and then our very first feral gentleman, and then we will
So feral.
So
very
gentleman.
feral.
And then we'll find our way into our topic adjacent that we have for the evening. So Melissa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Marisa Wolf. I write sci-fi. I write fantasy. I always put in romance because I write what I love to read. I am doing obviously very great tonight. So
mouth words are
mouth
different.
words, finger words, totally different things. And yeah, I'm going to stop there and maybe drink some more caffeine.
We are recording this, friends, it's only 6:30 for Melissa, so just keep in mind as she chugs that caffeine. It is evening.
But she did go to the day job today, so she had to start her day early.
It was a long day. It was a lot of day.
Yeah.
Kacey, thanks for hosting us on your channel.
Yeah. So if you're on my channel, you probably know this already, but I'm Kacey Ezell, and I write emotionally charged adventure, fantasy, and science fiction. And I'm super excited to bring Feral Ladies here to Kacey Ezell Writer Life because you guys are a huge part of my writer life. As fans of this channel will know, because you've both been on here multiple times. So, as has Griffin. So fun fact, not only is Griff our first feral gentleman on this particular podcast show iteration thing, but Griff was also my first writer friend that I interviewed on my channel itself. So welcome back, Griff.
Accidental synergy. Griffin, would you like to, or purposeful? I actually don't know.
We've just been friends a while. That's really what it means.
I love it. Griffin, who you is?
So I'm a science fiction fantasy author, editor, gamer, geek, etc. Motorcycle rider, retired police officer. I've done a few things in my time. I'm also excited to be here about this Feral for Fantasy, as I've kind of been around while you guys have been kicking it around trying to figure it out. I had a lot of fun with it. So
nice. Thanks for joining.
Today years old when I learned Griffin is a motorcycle rider. Heck yes.
Oh, Melissa also motorcycle rider.
Was.
I mean, it's like a Marine, right? Just one.
Oh yeah, totally.
King Arthur, Marines,
becomes
motorcycle
part of your
riders.
identity.
Yeah, it's just forever. That's a great trio. Somebody write that book for me. Motorcycle riders, Marines, King Arthur. Go.
Once you're King Arthur, you're always King Arthur? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's once and future king. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay.
Come on, English major.
Yeah, no, sorry,
yeah.
it's that one. All I could think about was not the same reference, but all I could think about was the King in Yellow, and I was like, that's not King Arthur.
that's the once in future and really scary king.
Yeah,
Right.
different eternal flat circle time. Yeah.
Tell me, have you seen the yellow sign?
No. So hi, I'm Marisa Wolf. I'm not at all worried about where we're going to go this evening. I write science fiction and fantasy of all flavors that ends in hope, no matter how unhopeful the path may be from the beginning to the end of the book. This is also true for life sometimes, but here we are. So mostly what I look forward to are reasons to cackle on the internet. So, or in reading, all the things. So one of the things that we talked about tonight, if that made sense, is
it was so great.
What brings us to books? Like when we're discovering a new book or new author, what are the sort of expectations? What are the things that get set up that really draw us in? But in case this is your first time with Feral Ladies, will not be gentle, but good luck. What you should know is that we provide some aftercare, and most importantly, it's in the comments. That's it. But most importantly, there are no rules. We do what we want. So we have a topic, and we might talk about it, and we might fall into several side topics. So I'm going to stop talking.
It's called side quests.
Yeah, I almost wore that shirt today. Oh,
So close.
let myself down. Instead, I wore glitter for you guys. You're welcome. But yeah, should we start with how are you drawn into new books and new authors? What brings it to you?
So I'm going to go on record and saying that I like to break the rules, and I judge books by their covers.
Mm-hmm.
This was a realization, not realization. This was sort of like I had to kind of be educated about this when I first started writing professionally and first started publishing novels, because initially with my first novel, Minds of Men, my initial cover concept was like this sort of cool vintagey travel postery looking thing with a B-17 and a lady walking toward it. And if you're familiar with my work, you know that there was a version of that book that came out with that cover on it. Mm-hmm. You know, basically that. And it was beautiful and I loved it. And I was really happy with it. But a year later, Chris Kennedy, the publisher, approached me and he was like, "Hey, I want to put new covers on these." He said, "Because I don't think that this adequately conveys what the story is about." And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, you're the publisher. If you want to put new covers on it, I'm down for that. And so we recovered well, yeah, that especially, which he did. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's where the current cover came from Minds of Men, which if I was a smart woman, I would have it here because it's right on the shelf over there. I would have it here to show you. But
producer Jeremy to flash it up on the screen.
Hey, producer Jeremy, please do show. Thank you so much. And the reason, timestamp, go. The reason that we wanted to replace the cover was because Chris made the very good point of, yes, this is a beautiful cover. And yes, it sort of illustrates what happened in the book, but it does not convey the genre and it doesn't set up reader expectations for what kind of story you're going to get. So when readers see this cover, they don't know if it's something that they want to take a chance on spending money on or not. And that was like a light bulb moment for me. It was like, oh, okay. All right. So the cover, while it may include an illustration, the purpose of it is not to illustrate the story. The purpose of it is to signal to potential readers, hey, these are some elements that you're going to find. Check it out if that's your jam, right? Which I can totally get behind. And so once I started thinking about covers in that context, it was really fascinating to me I kind of have like a running like mental list of, oh, these are the things that you're going to want to see on a Mill Sci-Fi cover, like space ass, right? Ocean, space assets, like big spaceships. So, yes. Because that's going to signal that, okay, you're going to get some cool, like, space battle action, or dudes in power armor, for example. That'll signal military sci-fi in particular. If you are talking fantasy, you may have, depending on, like, for example, epic fantasy, you may be seeing like a beautiful sweeping fantasy landscape with some humanoid non-humans, or fanciful castles, or whatever. If you're talking romantasy, you're going to see a central circular image that's very beautiful, very detailed, and like ornate title font, vines and flowers. Probably, and this is an interesting thing too, because this even extends to like titles, right? Like if I say a blank of blank and blank, you're like, oh, cool, that's a fantasy book, probably a romantasy, right? Which the funniest thing about that one is that a bowl of macaroni and cheese falls into into that category. So it could technically be a romantasy title, right?
A motorcycle riding King Arthur who was a Marine who eats mac and cheese. We're doing the genius here, guys.
But you know, there are certain words, there are certain phrases, there are certain images, and there are certain compositions that are going to signal, you know, to the reader, okay, this is this kind of story. You may get something like this in it. You know, if I say to you the title is, you know, Her Savage Wolves, okay, right away you know that is a smutty, dark romance. Why choose shifters, right? Like, you know that already. So, and it's with the amount of reading material out there today and the way that people shop, especially online, especially in Amazon, especially in Kindle Unlimited, like, you have seconds to catch someone's attention. So to be able to signal those things loud and clear right away is, you know, fundamental.
Yeah.
Well, and those trends tend to change very quickly.
Yeah, they're not static.
No, they're not. They're not at all. Like there was that lovely time period where you saw like a lot of that like urban fantasy, detective type stuff where you started with Jim Butcher with Harry Dresden, and then you saw Ilona Andrews with the Kate Daniels series. So you saw a lot of either that hard-boiled detective type wizard aesthetic, kind of like you know, AC Haskins has coming out in Feral for fantasy. But you also had like, you know, hot chicks in like maybe some leather-ish type outfit and a sword and maybe some
crouched, right? Like crouched on one knee. That was always
Jeremy, go ahead and put up Valkyries Chosen and Shadows May Fall. Just flash those butts up for us. Thank you.
Right? You see those trends though, and it tells you this is an urban fantasy. This is going to have like a lot of snarky banter, and depending on what you see on the cover or what you read on the back, it's going to be like, oh, this has got some like strong romance vibes in it, or not at all, or it's Harry Dresden,
or lots of kick-ass action, or
poor Harry.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
What do you think, Griff?
Well, the like you were saying about the title, that isn't what it said to me, because I'm not familiar or conversant with that genre.
Oh, when I said Her Savage Wolves.
Yeah, for me, that's just a cool title, right?
It's a super cool title.
Because I am not conversant in that stuff, but it's a cool title, right? So, again, I can find out later on, oh, this is more what's going on. So it attracted my attention. If it has a really cool cover with a bunch of wolves on it and a woman standing behind them with her hiney out, then we're clear on what's going on a little bit better. I'm like even more interested, right? Because so you will obviously have a lot of different things going on when it comes to title, et cetera. But there's also a bunch of other things that go into it that certain people are responsible for at different publishers and that kind of thing, which is the ad copy, the quotes, the pull quotes that you get from other authors, the quotes that you get from reviewers. There's the title, but there's also like, do you have a series title? But also, tagline. I'm kind of new to the editor game, and I've been learning a lot. It's been a very fast, like I was talking about drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
This ain't a garden hose, man. This is a fire hose. So trying to figure it all out. But it is true that, the title conveys a lot. The cover conveys a ton, and how those things go together. Having a cover designer, you can actually look at some covers. I was talking to my daughter this morning, and she's a huge Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas fan.
I'm reading those now. They're so good.
And I was like, because they just did a recover of all of them.
Yeah, they did.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure, if not the same person and the same team that did the new covers, is the ones that did the Diana Gambaldon books.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And trade paper. Because it is the same, like we have a solid color.
Yeah.
And we have, it's limited art. We have the name up top. It's kind of the same configuration of stuff. And it goes through cycles, just like you were talking about, Melissa. It goes through cycles in that it changes over time because people's desires or their program desires from the advertising world change. And more and more, everyone has only got a second or two to get to everybody's attention. Doesn't matter where they're at, because that's what we're training for.
Yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
the things that pull me in right away, I am still and forever will be a sucker for Michael Whalen type art. So that like epic spread. You got a cool dragon, I'm picking up the book. Like I'm at least going to read the back if there's a dragon on the cover. That is always going to be true.
So
for
name
the
us,
rest of
name
my
us a
life.
cover. Name us a cover from that.
The White Dragon
White
by Anne
Dragon.
McCaffrey.
That was exactly what I was thinking about when Kacey was talking about.
Yeah.
Was
I mean,
yeah.
That's why I read Pern. Like that's why I started. I mean, then it was Anne McCaffrey and her siren powers, and dragons.
So young.
But
So young.
yeah, but it's that cover. Like it was just there was a specific rack at my library when I was growing up that they put all the sci-fi fantasy paperbacks in, and I was forever haunting it. And I had just finished. I had read Narnia a while before and loved it, and had just made the mistake at like 10 years old of picking up the Screw Tape Letters because it was also C.S. Lewis.
Mm.
It's not really a 10-year-old book, I would say. So I was a little leery of my choices just based on author. And so I was like, well, pictures, we'll base on pictures. And so I saw that cover and I was like, I don't even care what it's about. I want this. I want to take this home with me. This, I would like this to be mine, at least temporarily. And so still to this day, you give me sweeping epic landscape and a dragon or something fantastical, and I'm interested. I think otherwise with a cover, for me, it's like that politician's definition of pornography. I don't know, but I know it when I see it. When I see it and it's cool, if there is something on the cover that makes me laugh out loud, like those little taglines or the pull quote or something, I'm like, ho, something. Then I'm like, okay, let me read the back. And the back is make or break. And what I've started to do recently, and this is since becoming an author, to your point, Kacey, I will flip it open and read the first paragraph. And if I'm like, welp, can't live without this, well, that's coming home with me. And if I'm like, oh, no, I don't know if this is going to work for me, then I'll go home and look up reviews or whatever. But it's pretty, it's funny. I like the style from paragraph 1. That's how I get pulled in.
Great covers. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Melissa.
So speaking of pretty and things that grab me is something that's relatively new, and that's character art. So I have been haunting Instagram, not just because it's incredibly addicting, but because a lot of it's a great way to like market and advertise your books, right? And fans will do it for you. They'll make reels and little character art and little pull quotes. Like I read the first book of Throne of Glass years ago before I started writing, and I just gotten done reading ACOTAR, and for whatever reason, the first one didn't really grab me, so I didn't continue the series. And then the past couple months, while I've been doing, all this research on Instagram, I kept seeing all this cool character art for Throne of Glass and all these cool little reels and audio snippets, and I'm like, oh damn. Okay, this worked. This worked on me. I need to go read this. So I started reading book 2. I'm on book 3 and I'm like, how have I lived without this? This is amazing. I'm taking notes. But it works.
That's like the definition of feral for fantasy, right? Like when the community loves the book so much that they are creating content about the book, like that's
worse.
The next level in that is the insane for your stuff is when they start tattooing stuff on themselves.
Yeah.
Only one so far, but I'm holding out. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more.
Yeah.
That's a good goal. What were you gonna say, Kacey?
You mentioned Michael Whalen cover art, and that the quintessential dragon art for me will always be the cover of Dragonflight, the green one. With Remoth all golden and wings spread with
Lessa in the white.
With Lessa sitting on her, sitting in the white. Yeah. That is great art, makes you feel something, right? That art just by itself makes me feel something. Like it makes me want that like connection, companionship, feeling, freedom, power, and that I think is sort of the gist of all of this, right? Like you want, when it comes to a cover, you want art that is going to convey your reader expectations, but also make them feel something, because then they're primed to feel something with your story inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There was actually, I'm reading book 3 right now. So Tracy Dion, the Legend Born, I know how to speak English, series. Reading book 3. Book 1, I hope I'm not flipping the colors, because they're very similar covers and they're freaking gorgeous, but it's like a close-up of this just gorgeous Black woman, and she's like wreathed in magic. And I want to say the first one was like red and purple, and I was like, what are these colors? What is this story? And then I read the back and I was like, it's for me. I must read it immediately. And it was so eye-catching, because I don't know that there was a lot of red and purple on the shelves, or whatever the combo was.
Yeah.
It was so gorgeous. And the art was beautiful. The description was amazing. The first paragraph, yep, I'm in. And book 3 just came out recently. Go check it out, y'all. But so I love that. I love anything that just catches your eye because of the color combo or the whatever, because it gives you that first spark of, ooh. And it's okay. For me, it doesn't have to be, ooh, my heart. It can just be, ooh, shiny. I need to know. I need to see. I need to see. The one complaint I have about those really gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, sprayed edge, whatever books is I've seen a few that they don't have any back copy at all. So
because the back is part of the art.
Beautiful, and it's foil and it's shiny, and my magpie heart is like, I want it. But I'm like, but no, what is the story? It's very pretty, but what I do. So.
Yeah, that's the beauty of like jacketed things, right? Because then on the inside jacket they'll have the let's talk, if you don't mind, because we have Griff here, who is, our editor at Baen, and has been working with us on our Feral for Fantasy stuff. Can we talk about the Feral for Fantasy covers kind of one by one? And let's talk about, okay, what are we trying to signal with this, right? You guys cool with that?
Yeah, I've got them.
Okay.
I've got them.
All right. So,
because they're very.
So mine's first. So I'm going to go first.
Weird.
Weird. So I'll show this to you, and then we'll ask producer Jeremy to put up a larger picture of. Sorry, my ring light's getting it, but these just arrived today, you guys, and I'm so excited. But this is Mage Light, and this cover was done by Sam R. Kennedy, who also did my my space opera series with the Queen's Fixer. So, dude's super freaking talented, right?
Also Beyond Enemies, which is
yeah. So, okay, all those covers, you got those, Jeremy? Sweet, you're the man.
They're probably over our faces right now. He's like, stop talking, just like filed out.
I fully anticipate that the edited video is going to have a line right now that says, "Stop telling me what to do, Kacey."
At least he didn't whisper, so we're good.
Outtakes, Jeremy's outtakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So with this cover for Mage Light, we have that like central image, right? That central motif. And I specifically, when I sent in my thoughts, because as a traditionally published book, the cover is not up to me, right? Mm-hmm. Indie published books, we have a lot more say, and self-published books, you have all the say.
Yeah.
But with a traditionally published book, publishing companies have, like, this is people's jobs to be art directors and cover designers and stuff. So at Baen, we're very fortunate in that, Tony will at least hear us out. She may say, okay, great, noted, and then completely do something different because of her vast experience and because she knows this game, right? Like, she knows how to signal to readers, this is what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. But I did send her an email. I said, hey, I know that it's not up to me, but here are my thoughts on a cover. And I went and I actually did some research, looking at what the top, like, fantasy adventure, because Amazon does their rankings, right? I looked on Amazon and I looked on barnesandnoble.com for the top fantasy adventure books, and then also like fantasy romance books, because I have such a heavy reverse harem plot line that, you know, goes along with my story. It's a subplot, right? So I kind of looked for what were the elements that I saw repeated over and over again. And again, it was, you know, kind of that dark background, some kind of central art piece in the middle. Very prominent title, very prominent author name, you know, really kind of jumping out, maybe like metallic foiled or something like that. But it was very much a like this and then this, you know. And so when I emailed Tony my thoughts, I said I would love to do something that combines these elements with the elements of that Baen fans specifically are going to recognize. And I specifically mentioned Larry Correa's Son of the Black Sword series, because those covers, which I believe all of them, I think all of them or all but one were done by Kurt Miller, kind of followed that same sort of motif where he had like the focus was on the central piece of the art in the middle. And they're beautiful. But they signal to Baen readers, hey, this is an epic fantasy. Like, this is something that you're going to, you know, you're going to get that action and that magic and that world building, all of which I wanted to emphasize as well. And so Tony liked my thoughts on the matter, and included, you know, I was fortunate enough to be included in the conversations with Sam Kennedy. And when he came up with this art, it was not exactly what I expected, but it was beautiful and it was perfect because it actually signals something else that I hadn't really thought about, in that the figures in the center look almost sort of like video gamey. And when you think about it,
to me, they look like miniatures.
Yeah. Or like miniatures, right? Like unpainted miniatures
For D&D. Yeah.
This is, I mean, I have a fighter, a ranger, a rogue, and a caster. This is a freaking D&D party. You know what I mean? Going on adventures together. So that was yet another level.
Sexy D&D.
Sexy D&D party. That's right.
One of the really great reviews of Mage Light, one of the early great reviews from, I believe, Upstream, mentioned very clearly, like, okay, yeah, so it's a D&D party, and we're obviously going to go, nope, never once did it go the obvious way. It was so good. It was such a great review. You should go check it out and then read the book. Yeah.
It'll be, yeah, I think that review will come out the day that the book comes out, is what they were telling me.
Oh, well then,
so welcome. Depending on when this airs, it might not be available. Yeah.
But, like, go check out Upstream anyway. They only do positive reviews. Only review books they like.
So, but yeah. So anyway, that's sort of a deep dive into my cover lore. But I mean, I think it's great, man, because it signals all those elements to my readers. And so, you know, if you like game lit, this is not game lit, but it's game lit adjacent, right? If you like D&D, if you like fantasy adventure, if you like hot dudes, if you like magical complications to relationships, if you like people having to deal with the ramifications of those things and the ramifications of their choices, if you like character development, characters growing up, you're going to like this book. Go buy it. Please help me become rich. Thank you so much. I love you.
And to connect back to our subject, when you look at it too, like there are very deliberate choices made in the colors and in the positions and in what you're learning about the characters. And one of the things I love when I'm looking for a new book to read is, do I have questions? Do I have interesting questions when I see the cover? Yeah. Not because, like, Kacey, I think you said this off the jump, like the cover may not entirely have everything to do with the story. Often it does. In these cases, and the ones we're about to talk about, it does every time, which is amazing. So it doesn't always, but if I look at the cover and I'm like, ooh, I wonder, that's it. I'm hooked, right? Because then I have the I wonder question. Yeah.
So let's talk about Melissa's cover, because it's right behind her on her wall. And I would love to do an evening.
And probably real big on your screen right now.
Now, Jeremy, now.
I did not do near the amount of research that Kacey did for hers, but we've talked about this before, out of the 3 books that we have coming out this year, Kacey's is the closest to actual romantasy, where we, want that cover to grab those readers. Mine is pretty much squarely in the middle. It's very much like fantasy adventure with some strong slow burn romantic subplots going on. But I told Tony, she was like, give me your ideas. I'm like, I want hot chick in riding leathers, hot dude in riding leathers. I want a griffin and a dragon and a cool background.
Ta-da!
Ta-da. But so why did you want those things, right? Like, what were you? It's so pretty.
I love it so much.
What were you hoping to signal with those things?
I wanted to signal a couple of things. One, I was real specific because I think that one of the notes internal to Baen was that everybody's hot, and I'm like, yes, everybody is hot. However, I need this cover to not signal the wrong things, which is what we've talked about as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to signal that this is a romantasy or a romance book, because
You don't want to disappoint people. Yeah.
I don't want to piss off my readers. Like, I wanted this to signal that, yes, there's a military academy. These are military cadets / young officers. It's a book about war and fighting and actual military stuff in here. So I wanted to make sure that the art captured that flavor and not lean too much into the, yes, everybody's hot because I am who I am, but they're not there to like show their heinies or like, hey, look at my awesome muscles, even though we can do those things too. That was not the core audience I was trying to grab with this. The art is by Pierluigi Abbondanza, and y'all,
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And the color is so eye-catching.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that it's a post-apocalyptic kind of world.
It is.
So even the colors say that it's sunset. It's, it is that post-apocalyptic
Burning.
kind of, burning
There's
going
some
on.
dusty wastelandness, maybe.
Yeah.
Things went very, very wrong in this world, and it's things that you'll have to figure out as the reader, but it's gorgeous. And every time I see this cover, I go,
Yeah.
Can confirm she does that every time.
every time.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add the note that, like, yes, everyone is hot in your book, that everyone is hot in your book the way everyone is hot in Hollywood. Just because everyone is pleasant to look at doesn't mean that the story isn't deep and isn't real. You know what I mean? And we all know that attractive people are a good advertising tool, right? So, so of course the people on the cover are hot, because you guys should all buy Melissa's book and make her rich too. It's fantastic. You'll really enjoy it.
I'll also probably rip your heart out, and I'm not sorry.
Not because you made her rich, though. That is agnostic. That'll happen anyway.
No, I would
She will do that just for the price of reading the book. Don't you worry.
Please fund my mocha addiction. Thank you so much.
One of the things we haven't touched on at all is the font as well.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
That's
Another big
distinctive font. And for me, that font, and this is from the cover designers that set this kind of thing, is it's very reminiscent of that very thing we started talking about, which is the white dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's got that flowy kind of script aspect without being a direct knockoff or anything like that. It has a very similar view to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of our category to it.
Yeah.
Well, and even Harpy's body position on Felix, the Griffin, like, is very reminiscent of Jackson on Ruth in that Michael Whalen cover of the White Dragon.
Yep.
So, which I love that, right? Because I know Melissa's a huge Pern fan, just like me. So it's like, you're going to get a Pern tribute in this,
and that's
right?
That's one of the selling points too, is that nostalgia that we all feel, even regardless of your age, because whatever it was that got you into it is what got you into it, right? So you will tend to feel some kind of nostalgia for those things. So if it harkens back to the first thing that you read was that, or if it was Throne of Glass, those kind of things. So it's one of those I don't want to say it like a marketing technique, but it is part of the marketing that goes into how you're going to do it and how you're going to title things and how you right down to the font. There's a lot of thought that goes into every element generally.
Yeah.
So it's neat how well both of those books turned out. And particularly proud of the Melissa's because I had something to do with some of it, and I'm really excited by how it kind of turned out.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it does very, very well and makes her rich too.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be feral here and break the rules for a second because y'all, you guys, everybody, like these three ladies know what the fuck I'm talking about. But our audience needs to know how amazing Griffin is here because holy crap, do I feel so fortunate that I got him to edit this book because I'm not arrogant when I say it was good. It was a good book. And then Griffin got a hold of it and he made it better, which is what an excellent editor does. And now thanks to Griffin specifically, the world will know what Griffins smell like. I'm never not going to say that.
Yeah. So blame me. Blame me if you don't like the way they smell.
Do not smell Griffin at a con without permission.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. We
your life in your hands, folks.
around here.
It's not actually an equivalency.
It's not the same.
It's not how Griffin smells.
No, it's different. Just so you know,
The Griffin
the
said
Griffins
he
and the
wants to
Griffining
know. Yes.
different.
Griffining. I'm fairly certain the note actually said something along the lines of, I know what this Griffin smells like, and it's not always pretty, but I want to know what your Griffins smell like. And I'm like, well, crap, I never said it.
Well, it kind of one of the things that it arose out of was your fantastic world building, right? I knew that you were a horsewoman and that there is a very, very distinct smell to a stable, especially a good stable, where everything is, the fresh hay, fresh fodder, everything. And it's like they're going to take at least that good a care of their dragons and their griffins. So yeah, that was one of those insistence. And plus it's such a big aid to memory and a trigger for memory, what things smell like. And most of us, the closest we're going to come to a soul bond is that smell of our loved one, right?
Yeah.
And how that triggers us and our emotions and our feelings towards that person, especially during a long absence or after a long absence. So I felt that was really important to convey.
I agree.
That's a really good point. And I'm going to go way off topic right here. But you guys, why does my husband smell so good all the time? Like all the time.
How did I not see that coming? I am
right. I'm like, I don't understand.
But I didn't know this was going to be a segue to husbanding.
I will hug him and like my nose lands somewhere around here. And I'm like, why do you smell good? And he's like, baby, I don't know. I just woke up. Like I haven't even had a chance to shower yet. But yeah, there
are science reasons for that, but
there are
separate show.
But just so you know, my husband also smells good, along with Griffin.
You also cannot smell him without permission. So please are not invites. Don't smell people. Please never smell anyone without permission. Also, please don't make me smell you without permission. Just while we're here. So I will also say about Melissa's cover. So for the various reasons we discussed before the scent entered our conversation, I would pick this up. 1, dragon. 2, color. I need to know more. And for that nostalgia that Griffin said, like this Griffin also says that to me. It also says like, think of the days of first discovering Mercedes Lackey and Anne McCaffrey and these stories. And so I'd be like, fuck yeah. So there is a reason, there are many reasons, you can probably figure out several of them, why I say this book, like, so to Griffin's point, if you loved those stories earlier in your life, you're going to love this one. And if you didn't read them, this is going to ruin you the way those books ruined us.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. Whole new generation of readers to be ruined.
In the best way.
The best way. So
yeah.
And if you already know you love those kind of stories.
Not mine.
Yeah.
God, why can't I point over there?
Look,
There it is.
Wait, I could put it Griffin, I think.
Uh,
So
Wrong
she's-
way on my
know.
monitor, but
look, I
I think one of the archaeological studies that are going to be done about this era is why did they spend so much time trying to figure out which direction to point it?
which direction?
how do they not know left and right
Right.
in the
Do they not know
2020s?
that there's a mirror effect sometimes, and that
Yeah.
or either that or it might be a just a programmer having us all on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna mess with
yeah.
these people
Totally.
so hard.
They
Yeah.
don't appreciate tech the way they need to. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Griff, do
So-
you want to talk about Blood and Fate, which is also a feral for fantasy this summer?
Yeah, the cover on that one is it's directly harkens back to the pools at the foot of Yggdrasil, the world tree.
Mhm. Mhm.
That series is steeped in Fae and Norse and Gaelic mythology and fairy and Fae, and it's just he is so accomplished. Aaron Haskins is so accomplished in so many fields, but he brings it to life.
Nice.
Man,
Yeah.
he's got some really twisted Fae that have their own societal kind of métier. It's not even necessarily like their own society. They just have their own way of operating within their society, depending on whether they're signatories to a treaty or not, that kind of thing. So, that cover is really interesting for those reasons. Also, one of the things that goes on with titles is struggling to figure the title out that might work the best.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't necessarily allude or hint at some other title that might be popular in the zeitgeist of the times, but be not necessarily something you want to be related to.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things that we kind of had to talk about and discuss was how do we get him the best cover and title that he can sink his teeth into, kind of thing, and won't be have any kind of embarrassment to go with it. So that's one of those things about traditional publishing, right? Is that sometimes you don't have those choices, as Kacey was saying.
Yeah.
But a good publishing house will listen to its author and try and make accommodations and also come up with the best title possible and the best cover possible, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I love I don't know if it's a progression. I haven't read the second one yet because it comes out, y'all, this August. But the first book in this series, it's the main character kind of slumped at his desk. You can see like books and it's like his study or his office. He's definitely got a glass of good brown liquor, either in hand or nearby. And home
Whiskey.
dude is
Whiskey,
it would have
not
to be,
scotch.
yeah, whiskey. That's why I went vague. Brown liquor. I don't want to.
No, I know. No, I'm saying.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're correct.
I made
I
a
love
mistake. I was like, whoops.
Oh, yeah, not correct. So this is a whiskey loving dude, and maybe love isn't the right word, but like it is a very powerful cover. And then you look at book 2, and now he's out in the world. Like, is there more Fae stuff happening? And don't answer the spoilers, but like, what is he's not hunched over in guilt or whatever the deep emotion was, depression. Yeah, he's out in the world. There's a progression, and like I love when series covers tell you a little bit of like a hint.
Yeah,
of
and
the
that's
story.
and that if just for those that have read the first book, he starts to rejoin society at the end of the first book. So
See the
yes,
cover?
you read it exactly correct,
And
and
very
that's
smart.
that's a good sign that the cover is putting it out there, right?
Yeah. I
For
love
sure. Yeah. And again, it's a really good book. It's a lot of fun. Aaron, among his many accomplishments, is a really good shooter. And he's even better describer of shooting.
Because he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. And I thankfully, I never had to be involved in an officer involved shooting, but I've written many times about shootings and that kind of thing. And I had to write about some other person shooting somebody, but that kind of thing, and in fiction as well. And one of the things that he does masterfully is like literally without slowing down the action, the sweep of the hand back, the sweep of the garment back away from it, the pull, the point, the trigger, the pull. I mean, just it's really, really cool. It's so incredibly well done. And he has numerous sequences that convey this expertise very, very well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lots of fun.
So action,
That's a-
urban fantasy
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Not
And-
to backtrack, but that's very much how Melissa's flight sequences were
Right.
with her dragons and her
Nice.
griffins. Like,
Yep.
you know, I'm reading them as an aviator, and Melissa has some time in the air too. But I'm reading them as an aviator, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how it is, right? So like,
And the desire, right? The desire
Yeah.
to both of you.
the emotions, right? Exactly, the emotions that go along with flying, and the way that you know, I mean, because there's a little healthy amount of fear that goes along with it too, right? Like, so it's the fear and the adrenaline and the joy and the rush and the wonder of like, they're literally paying me to do this today. Like, what, you know? Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
so-
sorry to interject that.
No, but Blood and
I'm
Fate
sorry.
captures those elements that you know. Like I said, I'm glad to hear that Marisa's a big fan of this cover as far as it's showing
Yeah.
some progression.
That
for
progression is
the
cool.
character, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
nice.
I keyed in on the first thing that you said about it, Griff, is that I think it really signals the mythological connection that Aaron's stories have. And you know, and there's a big fan base for that. So
Yeah.
those people are
And
going to see that.
if you're a fan of Dresden Files, you'll love the tar out of this. And you know, it's one of those things also where no matter how many people are doing it, there's still not enough to serve the readership. Right?
Yeah. There's always something new
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. So, and Aaron really does for the both the realism of his historical knowledge of that mythology and the Fae and that kind of thing, and is, you know, like I said, the gunplay is chef's kiss. I mean, it's so slick. And you know, I mean, to the point where he should be getting paid by some of these this holster maker that I'm like,
Sponsors. We need
he
sponsors.
should be sponsored by them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So probably no werewolf sponsors for Wen Spencer, but September of this year for late summer, early fall, feral fantasy, Wen Spencer, the Werewolves of Boston series has a new book.
Oh my goodness.
As far as I know, growing up 30 minutes south of Boston, there were not werewolves at the time, but this cover makes me
As
kind
far
of
as
yeah,
you
where?
know.
Yeah, as far as I know. What do I know?
That's right. That's
Suburb girl. It's from the South Shore. We didn't have no werewolves there, you guys. But yeah, do you want to talk about the Wen Spencer cover? Because it is all werewolf and like a little dude, but like the
Yeah.
claws
So
and the
fluffy.
teeth. I love it so much.
It's so fluffy. I want to pet him. Why not friend if not friend shaped?
It will die, you guys. It'll be petting something with bigger claws and teeth that I'm just like, it's so fluffy though. It's so fluffy. That's how it died.
Why, friend? Why not?
So I haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but again, it screams urban fantasy, and that is a mighty big werewolf. Like, thank you.
Yeah,
Run the other way.
This is how we die. Yeah.
I need backup. No, I need everyone.
We need Aaron's gun in this. Yeah.
Run
Makes
away,
me
run
happy
away.
Yeah.
Bravely.
Yeah. Can we also talk for a minute about the title, right? Because so the the series is the Black Wolves of Boston, right? And
Or werewolves of Boston. Right?
or the Werewolves of Boston. The first book was Black Wolves of Boston,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic title. You've got that beautiful
good.
alliteration. It's fun to say. It makes you ask the question like, are there wolves in Boston? You know, like what? My desire to know more intensifies.
Right.
You know,
I wonder. Yeah.
Just getting my urban fantasy werewolf vibes here.
Yeah, for sure. And then now with this installment, Black Tie and Tails, now you've got this amazing pun that like, you know, there's that humor that Marisa was talking about, right?
Yes.
There's that little piece that just kind of draws you in and makes you want to be like, okay, all right, this is going to be a fun ride. I'm down to check out some werewolf,
Also,
Bostonian werewolf.
breaking news from today, because I have not had a chance to read it yet, because September 2025, you guys. But you should know also, Black Tie and Tails, there are penguins in this. I don't know what role they serve. I don't know if there were penguins. I don't know if
it's
they're good.
perfect.
I don't know if they're evil.
They're mouthy penguins.
But there are also penguins, and so Black Tie and Tails, like yeah, desire to know more all the way intensified. I want it. I want.
Yeah, I haven't actually been able to read this one either. This is one that Tony got to read this one.
Yeah.
So
It's Gwen Spencer. I mean, come on.
And she was When is I have been able to read some of her other
fantastic
stuff. She has a short story and the amazing, really cool Swords and Larceny that's coming out.
Oh, nice.
Anthology. Her story is really fun there. She has a character in that is a felinoid humanoid, right? That's relatively small, named MJEOW. No.
I love her. I love her humor.
So
It
is
so this short story, I was like, this needs a novel. It is so good. It is really, really good. And the cover for that is another fun one that we can get into. But Swords and Larceny, pretty cool title, right? Grabs you as an anthology. You're like immediately, okay, I know something what this is going to be about. Ocean's 11 and Fantasyland. Oh, there we go.
I'm in. Say less, Sam.
And there's a story in there that has made me laugh harder and more than I have ever laughed at anything I have read.
I now have to read it.
It's Ailey Martinez. And of course, I can't remember the name of the title of that short story, but
now we know what to look for.
I know the main character's name is Babs, and she's a goblin.
Fantastic. I love that already.
Of course she is.
Yeah.
Of course she
is. And her first line is, "Hey, my name's Babs, and I didn't mean to blow up your dog." And he's talking to she's talking to the Lord of Hell or whatever of the underworld, and talking about Cerebus.
Oh my goodness!
And we get the story of what all happened, and I can explain everything. Actually, the first line is, "My name's Babs. She's sitting behind the Lord of the Underworld's desk with a glass of wine, his wine, and says, first off, I can explain everything." And then it goes into the whole thing about the dog. We didn't mean to blow up your dog. I started laughing then, and I'll chuckle. I get some grins out of stuff. Marisa's book maybe chuckle a few times. I laughed out loud, and I mean, granted, that was the intent, right? It's
right.
It's not meant to be, a levity moment to lighten up all the death and darkness. It's supposed to be a funny story the whole way through.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Whispered Story.
I imagine that. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Gwen Spencer thing, she's amazing in the short story that I read, and I was like, very cool. And I haven't read any of her urban fantasy, but I now want to because I read that short story.
And I should say I do actually know what the penguins are, because a quick little snapshot of this book is, one, it's a YA crossover urban fantasy. So one of the really, really cool things about this summer of feral fantasy is you're getting all different kinds of flavors. Like Kacey talked about the strong romantic subplot of why choose in Mage Light, and Melissa talked about the slow burn and the war and the darkness in Rise from Ruin, and also the sarcasm and levity. Blood and Fate is definitely a grown-up book. It's a grown-up urban fantasy.
Very noirish, very noir edge to it. Yeah.
Nice, fun, dark, but dark. Fun, not for the characters, fun for you as the reader. And Gwen Spencer's is a YA crossover urban fantasy. Joshua is just trying to graduate from high school, but his duties as a prince of werewolves, keep getting in the way. To say nothing.
Sounds like
the last line is, to say nothing of the were-penguins. So they are, in fact, were-penguins. And I need to know what Joshua, the prince of werewolves, has to do with them.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely on my Baen TBR.
Oh, that is next.
Baen TBR.
That's next on my Baen TBR, because Tony was talking to me like before I did the road show for Mid-South Con here in Memphis. Tony went, book by book, and she got to Black Tie and Tails, and I'm like, okay, Tony, tell me about this one, because I haven't read the first one yet. And she's like, first there was the evil penguins, and I'm like, sold.
Oh, it's really more. Say less. And then,
and she was like,
say less, fam.
Poor high school kid who is bitten by a werewolf, turns into a werewolf, and is adopted by a 300-year-old vampire, and things go about as well as you expect.
I love it.
I'm in.
I love it.
So good.
I love
We'll
it.
give you a book report on in one of these videos in the future.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come up. And then Feral Fantasy ends in September with A Plague of Magic.
Or it does. I'm just saying, we could keep going with this stuff.
I mean, there could be more Feral Fantasy.
There
There
could be
will,
more.
in fact, be more.
This
Feral
summer's Feral for Fantasy.
Fantasy. This
summer.
particular 2025 ends in September.
And boy, what a book to end it with. One that I'm currently reading again and not sad about reading again because it's amazing. But let's talk about the cover.
Yes. So the cover is so much fun. So Tom Kidd is award-winning artist. He paints his covers. This is a partially hand-painted cover, which is just bonkers to me. I love it so much. So in this, it's just a little bit of a little portrait, little frame. And speaking of the font, I love it. So it's like this metallic silver with like purple edges. And when one of the awesome staff at Baen sent me the cover, she was like, you saw the color, right? You saw the color. And I was like, oh, that's the first thing my eyeball saw was the purple edges. I don't know if you guys know, but I really like purple. And it's weird. Yeah, it's a weird, strange thing. But I love it. I love the combo of like the classic fantasy art and the kind of like more, I don't know if sleek is exactly the word, though. It's one I keep using, but like this more like sleek fantasy current trend thing. I like the combo because this is not romantasy. Of the three of our books, as Melissa mentioned earlier, hers is kind of in the middle. Mine has the least romance in it. There's not a lot of time.
I don't know. I did fan myself in Lady.
Woo, yeah, you did. I did too.
You guys.
Hashtag hot mod boss.
I think I don't even know if I've told this story on the internet before, but the very short version, I mean, look, guys, we've talked about this on Feral Ladies before. When the world is dark and full of terrors, people have sex. Like that is a thing, right? And or they are very tempted to have sex. So there is not actually time for sex, but there is time for some messy relationship revisiting in several ways. And I wrote this scene and I sent it to Melissa and Kacey, and I was like, look, do not cheerlead. Like, this isn't the Marisa is making herself crazy, writing lots of words every day. This is the like, I either wrote the best scene I've ever written or it's absolute garbage. And I have no idea which is the answer. So please tell me, am I being delusional or not?
I replied back in all caps and was, goddamn, this is the best thing you have ever written.
And I was unaware of it and came back a year later or 6 months later while I was editing it. And I made that comment in this on the manuscript saying, I'm fanning myself in Lady because it was.
It's a very sexy scene.
Yeah.
Lots of hot tension, lots of like, undercurrents.
Undercurrents is a purposely used word, I imagine. So I screenshotted that comment from Griffin. So I fully second what Melissa said. Being edited by Griffin was an amazing experience. You'll probably read about it in the acknowledgements. Go ahead and buy the book and read them. It'll be fine. I have not written, as of the time of this recording, I have not written those acknowledgements, but Griffin will be in them. So you heard it here first.
So acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
So you may want to say, let's pause the video and say, maybe you should say Jeremy too in those acknowledgements. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to list every one of the acknowledgements right now. People go buy the book. Don't tell everyone my secrets. Jeez. But being edited by Griffin is an incredible experience. And also, I think this is the first time I have screenshotted an editor's comment because I cackled so hard. I genuinely, these aren't my stools in my kitchen, you guys. I almost fell out of this chair. Like the stools in the kitchen, it's not really a big accomplishment, as you know, if you've watched these videos. But this chair is hard. Yeah, this chair is hard to fall off of. And I was just like, and then I was somehow over here. It was the whole thing. Not going to replay it because I'm old. That'll be painful. But in that scene, it just says Griffin Barber, fan self and Lady. And I was like, screenshot, this is mine forever. Anyway, it was amazing. So yay! So you have fun scenes like that in there, which are not hinted at all on this cover, because in this cover, what you get is a very I don't know if suspicious is the right word. We'll say doubting woman.
Yeah, skeptical.
Skeptical woman in a fancy jacket with some really cool pearls. You got a treasure. You got a dragon. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, like, this would make me pick up the book if it weren't my book. A big score, a little dragon, and a whole lot of trouble. Like, yeah,
That tagline.
I'm picking up
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's so good. It also makes me think like Big Trouble, Little China, and I love that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, and there's other elements to the cover too that are very reminiscent and draw into the story. First off, it's a cameo on the cover, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's a little.
It's part of a hoard.
Mhm.
It's part of a hoard of treasure.
Sure is.
It's got the dragon on it. That tagline is immortal. It also was a learning lesson for Griffin on how to do taglines, because I failed utterly, and Tony came to my rescue and got that together, and instructed me on how she got that together, which was invaluable experience.
Nice.
So that's one of those cool things that traditional publishing can bring you, is that wealth of knowledge and experience. Not everybody is David Weber, who came up in an advertising family and was doing advertising copy when he was a teen.
So smart.
Not everybody can do that. So one of the things about traditional publishing is that they're going to have that experience to be able to help you out with those things and drive readers that wouldn't necessarily look at you twice until they read this tagline, which is, a tiny dragon. Oh, I can't remember what it is, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
A big score, a little dragon, and a whole lot of trouble.
A lot of trouble.
Yeah. The trouble was one of my things, but that was the cool thing about that was it's a pithy little phrase that really covers a lot of what's going on in this story without giving away details and without asking you to give a damn about characters you don't know about yet. That's one of the things that you want to avoid when you're talking copy. Is you don't want to talk about characters that we haven't heard of yet, especially on a first book, right? It may be permissible in the second book
too.
But even then you want to get basically we want to get some snappy stuff that makes people interested in reading it. So one of the coolest things about this trio, and I didn't get to work on Kacey's novel, but I did work on a short story that she's written in support of it, is that all of these are firsts in a series, right? So it's really fun to be there. And again, I am not their editors. I'm one of the Baen editors, and I get assigned who I get assigned, et cetera. But it was certainly a pleasure for me to work with everybody in this environment, especially to work with such good material. Like, it's not for nothing, but I see a lot of stuff out there, not necessarily in the Baen that gets assigned to me, but I have seen some stuff out there that I'm like, well, how did this get into print at all as an author? That even before doing any of the editing stuff, I'm like, I don't know if that was really all that good. And this has been a dream to work with. These gals are all really they're feral for the craft as well. So they are very accomplished, and I'm expecting to see lots of great things from them in future, whether or not I get to edit or play in their universes at all anymore, and ask what the next generation of Griffins smell like.
As they evolve.
I expect that's what the dragons smell like. Don't worry, I already have that in book 2.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I would love to take a minute and point out that not only does Griffin edit, but he's also a highly accomplished writer himself. He's worked extensively in the 1632 universe as both an assistant publisher and an author, and probably some bunch of other roles that I'm forgetting. But your 1632 covers that were also with Baen were kind of did that same thing. And I'm thinking specifically of
Same
one
artist.
of,
It's Tom Kidd.
yeah, it's Tom Kidd, right?
Yeah.
Because he did all the 1632 stuff.
Most
but,
of them. He did
yeah,
95% of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
99.
that's true. That's true,
fair.
because there were a couple of others.
Yeah.
But in your first one, Mission of the Mughals, you have this incredible scene set in Mughal, India, where you have the uptimers, which if you're not familiar, go read the 1632 universe, you're welcome, where the uptimers are busting into this Mughal, India court carrying uptimer weapons, modern weapons. And the one dude is wearing a cat hat, like Cat, the tractor company. And
Construction equipment, yeah.
yeah, yes. Like, how freaking cool is that? You know exactly that, just by looking at that,
There's
that
shenanigans
beautiful
in here.
anachronism,
Yeah.
that this is alternate history. And that's something that, the 1632 universe in particular, that, and Eric Flint really kind of helped to define. So, I know we're long on time, but I just wanted to point that stuff out too. So,
Well, thanks. Yeah, that was one of the signature pleasures of mine. And also I learned a ton about editing and the whole process of kind of how the sausage gets made, even before becoming an editor, with working with Eric, and even before becoming the assistant publisher at the now defunct Ring of Fire Press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. So in
we will talk.
conclusion,
Yeah.
you all want to be rich, so go buy our books. Because
We
you're gonna love them.
will talk more about not only the Baen Summer Feral Fantasy, but we have a lot of fabulous indie friends who have some releases coming this summer too in fantasy. So we will talk about them. We will be talking about these books again, because there is so much to be feral for. And as I think we should just ask we should just all go around and everybody should ask. I think we should do this throughout the summer of feral fantasy. I'm not in the same headspace. I don't have the same makeup on as last time, so the impact won't be the same.
It'll be different every time.
Yeah, it'll be different every time. So this time, I guess it's just, are you feral for fantasy? Do you want to be? Come join us.
I love it. I love it so much. All right, Melissa, you go.
No. Well, the real question, you guys, is if we do this every time from now through September, will Melissa one time, put your bets in the comments, will she one time manage to do it with a straight face? My bet is no, but I love it. I love it.
I want to know what the over-under is on how many videos in we'll get before she can do it with a straight face.
And now she's like, challenge accepted, you bitch, which maybe is part of my plan.
Okay, I've got this. Are you feral for fantasy? Do you want to be?
Look at you. See?
That's good. That's very good. There it is.
I don't know if that counts as a win or not, but it's a win. It's a win for everybody. Welcome. Also, if we didn't ask you during the premiere, which hopefully we did in the comments at this point, but like, what draws you in for books? Please tell us. Please tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the chat. Or if you're catching the replay, tell us in the comments, because we genuinely
we do very much
right?
Like,
this is a fun discussion to have with fans.
Yeah, like
so.
what draws you in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Kacey.
Speaking of, are you feral for fantasy? Do you want to be?
We're gonna lip bite next time. I love it. I love it so much.
All right, Griff, bring it home.
You're up.
How many takes do I get?
When you record just your own one, which you should do, you can have as many as you want, but this one, you get 3.
I'm gonna turn off my camera because it might involve some head positioning.
I feel like that's part of the draw? Question mark.
That's what she said. I don't
Somebody
know.
said
Somebody
it.
Are
said
you feral for fantasy?
Oh.
Do you want to be?
Well, now I do.
And scene. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Hopefully, I didn't ruin it for every other guy.
It was
that don't wanna
amazing.
be on.
It was amazing.
That's what he said.
So good. Ooh, guys, go ahead. If you have not already subscribed to Kacey's channel for some crazy reason, go ahead and do that right now so you catch
Yeah,
all
please.
of her further adventures. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed yourself at all. Or if you too are now feral for fantasy or were previously. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
And we'll see you.
Wait,
again.
one more thing.
No.
If this is your first feral, if this is your first Feral Ladies episode you're ever seeing, go head over to Marisa Wolf's. I don't know.
What are you, Marisa? That might be the direction I am from
there
her
she
house,
is. I got
to be
you.
fair.
Go head over to Marie. I can't move my finger now. Go head over to Marisa Wolf's channel. The description will be in the comments. The link will be in the description is what I'm trying to say. And
Mouth words.
check out the rest of our videos.